There comes a moment in every life when heaven leans closer, when the silent forces of the universe begin to move in ways you cannot see but can feel trembling within your spirit. You may have walked through seasons of waiting, seasons where nothing made sense, seasons where your faith was tested to its very edge. But hear this truth with the full authority of divine law. God's timing is never late, only precise. You think you have been waiting, but God has been preparing. You think doors were closed, but God was building a better doorway. You think nothing was happening, yet everything was being aligned behind the veil of the unseen. Every delay was divine protection. Every setback was sacred redirection. Every unanswered prayer was God whispering, "Not yet, because I'm shaping something greater." And now the spiritual tide is turning in your favor. The vibration around you is shifting. The universe is quickening. The thing you prayed for, cried for, questioned God about, it's approaching with a speed and a power that will leave you overwhelmed. When God's timing reveals itself, it doesn't come quietly. It comes like a flood of grace, a rush of answered prayers, a wave so full of light that it breaks you open. Not in pain, but in awe. The kind of awe that brings tears to your eyes because you realize God never forgot you. This is the moment your soul has been sensing. This is the season your spirit has been prepared for. And I tell you with absolute certainty, God's timing is about to touch your life so deeply, so beautifully, that it will move you to tears. Trusting the divine process when everything appears motionless is one of the greatest spiritual tests you will ever face. It challenges your mind, your emotions, and your faith at the deepest level. When life becomes quiet, when prayers seem unanswered, when doors remain closed, the mind begins to fear. It whispers doubts, it paints dark scenarios, it convinces you that nothing is happening. But the truth is that stillness is not the absence of movement, it is the preparation for transformation. The universe often works in silence, and God's greatest miracles are crafted behind the curtain of the unseen. Just because your physical eyes witness no progress does not mean that the spiritual realm is inactive. In fact, the moment you feel stuck or still is often the moment when the universe is rearranging people, opportunities, and circumstances to align with your highest good. You are not being punished by silence, you are being positioned. Divine timing operates on a frequency that human logic cannot measure. God sees the entire path, not just the step you're standing on. He knows what must be removed, what must be healed, what must be strengthened, and what must be discovered within you before the next phase of your life can unfold. Sometimes this preparation requires quietness, distancing, and even isolation. These phases are not empty, they are full of divine engineering. This silent period is where your faith is refined. Anyone can believe when life is moving fast, when opportunities are flowing, when signs are visible. But true spiritual maturity begins when you continue to trust, even when no external evidence supports your trust. Faith is not meant to rely on eyesight, it is meant to rely on inner knowing. When you trust the divine process, you declare that God's unseen work is more real than the physical environment around you. You stop allowing temporary conditions to dictate eternal truths. You shift from worrying about the how to resting in the certainty of when. Understand that the universe responds not to fear, not to impatience, but to unwavering belief. The moment you align your inner state with trust rather than doubt, you allow divine timing to unfold freely. Every seed planted in your life must go underground before it blooms. The darkness beneath the soil is not death, it is development. Your current quiet season is your spiritual soil. The roots of your blessing are being strengthened where you cannot see. If you dig up the seed because you think nothing is happening, you interrupt the process. The same is true with your life. If you panic during the silent phases, if you doubt the divine arrangement, if you force outcomes before their time, you hinder the miracle that is already forming. When nothing seems to be moving, God is actually moving everything. When you feel left behind, you are being aligned. When you feel empty, you are being prepared to receive. Trusting the divine process means trusting that nothing is wasted, nothing is random, and nothing is forgotten. The universe does not make mistakes. Your delays are calculated. Your disappointments are redirected blessings. Your stillness is strategic. You must hold a calm and confident heart, even when your circumstances suggest otherwise. You must speak faith, even when your emotions tremble. You must remember that God is always faithful, always present, and always purposeful. One day soon, you will look back at this silent season and realize it was the most important chapter of your life. You will see how everything was being orchestrated perfectly. You will understand that the quiet moments were the moments heaven was working the loudest. And in that realization, you will know that trusting the divine process, especially when nothing seemed to be moving, was the reason everything finally shifted in your favor. Delays are often misunderstood because the human mind is conditioned to seek immediate results, quick answers, and fast manifestations. When something does not arrive, according to our personal timeline, we assume the universe is ignoring us or that God has withheld something from us. But delays are rarely denials. In truth, delays are divine setups, sacred periods where life is preparing the exact conditions needed for your blessing to arrive in its full power. A delay is not a stop sign. It is a protective shield. It is the universe telling you, the blessing exists, but you are still being shaped for it. What looks like a pause is actually preparation. You must understand that every dream, every breakthrough, every answered prayer comes with a required level of strength, maturity, awareness, and readiness. If the blessing comes too early, it collapses under the weight of unprepared hands. A relationship given too early falls apart because emotional maturity has not yet formed. A promotion given too early becomes overwhelming because leadership skills are not yet refined. A financial blessing given too early evaporates because money management has not yet developed. And a spiritual breakthrough given too early is lost because your inner foundation is not yet strong enough to carry its magnitude. So the delay is not a punishment, it is divine training. Behind every delay, something sacred is happening. God is clearing paths you cannot see, rearranging timelines you cannot understand, and removing individuals who cannot go with you into the next chapter of your destiny. Some delays occur because the environment around you is not ready. Other delays occur because the environment within you is not ready. And occasionally, delays occur because the blessing itself is not ready, its components are still assembling, its connections are still forming, and its impact is still being shaped. Everything is happening with mathematical precision, even when you perceive disorder. If you look closely, you will notice that delays force you to slow down, reflect, grow, and confront parts of yourself that fast seasons never reveal. In the rush of life, you rarely stop to evaluate your emotions, your habits, your patterns, or your spiritual alignment. But delays have a way of exposing the true condition of your inner world. They reveal impatience, fear, doubt, and unhealed wounds. They show you where you must strengthen your faith and where you must surrender your control. Delays refine your character, polish your confidence, and deepen your connection with the divine. They turn your desires into intentions, your intentions into commitments, and your commitments into unstoppable belief. Think of the delay as a divine checkpoint. It is there to ensure that when the door opens, you walk through it with wisdom instead of confusion. It ensures that the opportunity you receive does not slip through your fingers. It ensures that what you prayed for truly elevates you rather than overwhelms you. God's timing is always exact, and when He delays something, it is because something better is being aligned, developed, or revealed. You may think you are waiting for the blessing, But the blessing is often waiting for you to heal, to evolve, to detach from the past, to forgive, to gain clarity, or to strengthen your mindset. When you finally receive what you have been praying for, you will realize that the delay was the greatest gift. You will look back and see how every detour, every pause, every unanswered prayer was leading you towards something far more fulfilling than what you imagined. You will understand that the wait was not empty, it was purposeful. And in that moment of realization, you will see that delays were never meant to hurt you. They were meant to prepare you for the blessing that was always yours. Your inner belief is the spiritual engine that drives the timing of your breakthrough. Everything in your life responds to the vibration, expectation, and conviction you carry within your mind. People often think external circumstances control their progress, but it is the internal atmosphere that shapes the unfolding of destiny. When you believe deeply, consistently, and confidently, you create a magnetic field that draws opportunities, ideas, people, and divine timing toward you. When you doubt, fear, or waver, you slow down the spiritual flow that is trying to reach you. Breakthroughs are not random events, they are the results of inner alignment. Your mind is a powerful instrument, capable of influencing invisible forces that mold your reality. The thoughts you think repeatedly form patterns. These patterns create belief structures, and those beliefs dictate the speed at which the universe responds. Many people delay their own blessings because they carry subconscious beliefs that contradict their prayers. They want success, but believe they are unworthy of it. They desire love, but fear abandonment. They ask for growth, but resist change. These internal contradictions create energetic friction, and friction slows down divine timing. When your inner belief is not in harmony with your desire, the result is stagnation. To accelerate your breakthrough, you must align your beliefs with the outcome you seek. This alignment is not about pretending or forcing positivity. It is about cultivating a deep conviction that what you desire is not only possible, but already in motion. When you believe something with certainty, your thoughts, emotions, decisions, and actions naturally shift to match that belief. This creates momentum. The universe responds to momentum. God responds to faith, expressed through inner confidence. Every breakthrough begins within, long before it appears outside. Belief is a form of permission. When you believe, you permit the blessing to enter your life. You open the door that doubt keeps closed. You remove the resistance that fear creates. The moment your belief becomes stronger than your fear, you activate divine timing. Suddenly, things begin to move. Ideas arise unexpectedly. People show up at the perfect moment. Opportunities align with stunning precision. What once felt delayed begins to accelerate. This is not coincidence, it is spiritual law. Your inner belief also shapes how you interpret challenges. Someone with strong belief sees obstacles as temporary, as stepping stones, as preparation. Someone with weak belief sees obstacles as signs to quit. The universe mirrors your expectation. If you expect progress, you draw progress. If you expect defeat, setbacks multiply. Your belief is the thermostat of your destiny. It sets the temperature at which your life operates. Raise your belief, and your life rises with it. Lower your belief, and your life contracts accordingly. But belief is not merely a mental idea, it is an emotional state. You must feel the truth of your desire before you see it. You must carry gratitude for what is coming, even before it arrives. You must speak from a place of assurance, not desperation. This emotional frequency sends a signal into the universe that commands alignment. Spiritual breakthroughs occur when your mind, emotions, and expectations vibrate in harmony with your desired reality. At that moment, timing accelerates. What once seemed impossible becomes effortless. What once felt far away moves toward you rapidly. There is no force more powerful than a focused mind, rooted in unwavering belief. When you decide within yourself that you are ready, that you are worthy, that you are capable, and that your blessing is inevitable, the universe reorganizes itself to match your decision. And when this alignment becomes complete, divine timing is not slow, it is instant. Breakthroughs do not trickle, they flood. And when they arrive, you will realize that the speed of the miracle was always connected to the strength of your belief. God often removes what cannot go with you before he elevates you, and this is one of the most misunderstood experiences in a person's spiritual journey. When people or situations begin to fall away, the natural reaction is confusion, hurt, or fear. We tend to hold on tightly to what is familiar, even if it is no longer aligned with our growth. But divine elevation requires divine separation. You cannot rise to a new level while carrying the weight of what belongs to an old season. God, in his wisdom, begins clearing your path long before the blessing arrives, removing influences, attachments, habits, and relationships that would sabotage the next chapter of your life. What feels like loss is often protection. What feels like rejection is sometimes redirection. At first, it may not make sense. You may wonder why certain people drifted away or why certain opportunities suddenly collapsed. You might even question yourself, did I do something wrong? Did I make a mistake? But the truth is deeper than your feelings. God sees what you cannot see. He hears conversations you never heard. He knows the intentions of hearts you trusted. He understands the future pressures, responsibilities, and opportunities you will face, and he removes anything that cannot support the weight of your destiny. Elevation is not only about what God brings into your life, it is equally about what he takes out of it. Sometimes the things you cling to most tightly are the very things hindering your growth. You may be attached to an identity that no longer reflects who you are becoming. You may be loyal to people who are comfortable with your old self, but threatened by your evolution. You may hold on to environments that keep you small, afraid, or distracted. You may be stuck in habits that drain your energy and block your spiritual clarity. Before God elevates you, he disrupts your comfort. Before he expands you, he strips away what is limiting you. Before he opens a new door, he closes every door that would detour you. This process of removal is rarely gentle. It tests your faith because it requires surrender. It asks you to let go of what feels safe, even when you don't yet see what will replace it. It forces you to trust that God is not subtracting from your life. He is clearing space for something better. What God removes, he replaces with something higher, healthier, and holier. But you must be willing to release the old so the new can enter. Holding on to what is not meant for you will delay your breakthrough. Letting go accelerates it. You will notice a pattern in your life. Every major elevation was preceded by a season of unexpected endings. You outgrew certain friendships and soon after discovered new ones that inspired you. You left a job or lost an opportunity, and almost immediately something better arrived. You walked away from someone who didn't value you and eventually met people who gave you the respect, love, and support you deserved. These are not coincidences, these are divine reorganizations. God removes what blocks your path and replaces it with what builds your destiny. When God removes something, it is not a sign of loss, it is a sign that your next level is near. The discomfort you feel is the stretching of your spirit. The emptiness you sense is space being created for expansion. The silence around you is the preparation before elevation. One day you will look back with clarity and say, if that had stayed in my life, I would not be where I am now. You will realize that every removal was a rescue, every ending was an opening, and every loss was part of your liberation. God does not take anything without purpose. He clears your path because the next chapter requires a version of you that cannot be burdened by what you were never meant to carry. Elevation demands freedom, and God removes what binds you so you can rise. Your miracle arrives the moment your mind aligns with faith, and this truth is more powerful than most people realize. Miracles are not random events. They do not appear because of luck, chance, or coincidence. They unfold when your inner world reaches a state of complete agreement with the outcome you desire. As long as your mind is filled with doubt, worry, or fear, you create a barrier that slows or blocks the manifestation that is already on its way. But when your thoughts shift, when your emotions settle into trust, and when your heart begins to believe without hesitation, something extraordinary happens. The invisible becomes visible. Faith is not passive. It is not simply hoping things will get better. Faith is an active force that signals to the universe that you are ready to receive. It transforms your energy, your expectations, and your perception. When you truly believe something is possible, your entire being aligns with that belief. You think differently, you speak differently, and you act differently. This alignment creates a powerful channel through which divine timing can flow without hindrance. A mind filled with faith becomes a magnet for miracles. Many people pray for miracles while simultaneously entertaining thoughts that contradict what they are asking for. They pray for healing but constantly anticipate pain. They pray for abundance but expect lack. They pray for breakthroughs but prepare for disappointment. This inner conflict delays the very blessing they are seeking. The universe does not respond to what you say, once it responds to what you believe consistently. When your inner belief shifts from doubt to certainty, you create spiritual harmony, and harmony is the birthplace of miracles. The moment your inner state becomes aligned with trust, a shift begins. You may not see the miracle immediately, but the process starts instantly. Ideas begin to flow. Intuition becomes stronger. You notice signs, opportunities, and synchronicities that were invisible before. People show up unexpectedly with the exact information or support you needed. Paths open that were previously blocked. This is not magic. It is the natural result of an aligned mind. Faith dissolves resistance. It clears the fog of fear and allows you to see possibilities where you once saw limitations. It strengthens your spirit so you can move with confidence, even when circumstances remain unchanged. When your mind harmonizes with faith, you no longer beg the universe, you cooperate with it. You no longer struggle, you allow. You no longer chase, you attract. This is the point where miracles begin to move toward you with speed and clarity. Your miracle is not waiting somewhere far away. It is already created, already prepared, already aligned in the spiritual realm. It becomes visible the moment you become ready. And readiness is not about perfection, it is about alignment. When your thoughts, emotions, and expectations come into agreement with faith, you unlock a spiritual current that brings the blessing directly into your experience. In that moment, miracles unfold effortlessly, not because they suddenly appeared, but because you finally aligned yourself with the truth that they were meant for you all along. When God's timing finally unfolds, it rarely arrives in small, subtle ways. It comes with a force that shakes you, awakens you, and overwhelms you with a sense of divine orchestration you cannot deny. For a long time, you may feel as though nothing is happening. Days pass, weeks pass, even years pass, and the breakthrough you prayed for seems distant. But what you cannot see is that heaven does not operate according to human impatience. It operates according to perfect alignment. And when the alignment is complete, the blessing enters your life with such clarity, abundance, and emotional intensity that it moves you deeply. It's not just an answer to prayer, it is a revelation of God's unfailing presence. When the right time arrives, things begin to happen all at once. Situations that were stuck begin to move. Opportunities you thought were gone return with greater favor. Relationships that once felt painful make sense in hindsight. Clarity rises like the sun after a long night, showing you that every detour had a purpose. You begin to understand why God didn't give you what you asked for earlier, because He was preparing the perfect version of the blessing, not the rushed version. And when it finally comes, it fits your life so precisely that you realize anything earlier would have been incomplete. God's timing also brings overflow. A blessing from God rarely comes alone. It arrives with doors, connections, and unexpected advantages attached to it. You prayed for one thing, and God gives you 5 more connected to it. You were asking for survival, but He gives you abundance. You were asking for clarity, but He gives you purpose. You were asking for a way out, but He gives you a way forward. This overflow makes you emotional because you realize God did not just meet your need, He exceeded it. He went beyond your expectations, reminding you that His plans are greater than anything you could imagine. Another part of God's perfect timing is the deep sense of peace it brings. When the blessing arrives, there is no confusion, no chaos, no hesitation. Everything feels right. Your spirit recognizes what God has aligned. There is a knowing that settles into your heart, a quiet whisper saying, "This is it. This is what you were waiting for." That peaceful recognition often brings tears because you realize how much your soul longed for this moment. And then there is the awe, pure, overwhelming awe. You look back at the years of waiting, the nights you cried, the battles you survived, and suddenly the entire journey becomes clear. You see how God protected you, redirected you, prepared you. You see how every chapter, even the painful ones, were leading you to this moment. And the realization that God was caring for you the entire time, even when you doubted, even when you felt forgotten, touches your heart in a way nothing else can. When God's timing unfolds, it confirms that you were never alone. It shows you that every struggle had meaning, every delay had purpose, and every tear had a promise attached to it. The blessing comes, the clarity comes, and the emotional release comes. Not because your life suddenly became perfect, but because you finally see the perfection in the way God has been guiding your life all along. My friends, as we bring this message to a close, remember that nothing in your life is random, nothing is wasted, and nothing is unfolding outside the reach of divine wisdom. Every delay, every detour, every quiet season, every unexpected ending has been preparing you for a moment, a sacred moment when God's timing bursts into your life with clarity and power. What felt like waiting was actually shaping. What felt like loss was divine protection. What felt like silence was God working in the unseen. The universe responds to the energy you carry within. When your belief aligns with faith, when your heart lets go of what cannot go forward, when you trust the process, even when the path feels uncertain, you step into alignment with a force greater than any obstacle. You become a vessel through which miracles flow. And soon, the very things you once prayed for will stand in front of you, not as distant dreams, but as fulfilled promises. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. Everything meant for you is already on its way, guided by a divine intelligence that cannot fail. And when the timing of heaven meets the readiness of your spirit, your breakthrough will not merely arrive, it will overflow. It will lift you, transform you, and remind you of the infinite power that has always been guiding your steps. So walk forward now with confidence, with calm, and with expectation. Let your heart rest in the truth that God's timing is perfect, purposeful, and powerful beyond imagination. And when it finally reveals itself, and it will, you will not just witness a blessing, you will feel the touch of the divine so deeply that it brings tears to your eyes, tears of understanding, tears of gratitude, tears of awe.